Okay, I'm a little early, again, so I'm going to wait for the chat to populate. And we'll get to the lesson. Today we're going to be working with 3 against 2, utilizing the stick control book, and shifting some accents around on the 3. Plus, I'm going to revisit anything anyone asks. They're having some, not difficulty, but they want to be sure that they're performing it correctly. No problem. All right, in the meantime, I'm just going to warm up a little bit until a few people get into the chat. Hoist, how you doing? Okay, you have any questions on yesterday's 3 against 2, utilizing the stick control book? And again, do you have double beaters? Okay, he got booted. Oh boy. Hoist, you there? Yesterday I got a comment on here. Well, stop talking and play. Well, if that person is going to, okay, what that person is going to find out, and if he's listening to this now, this is an instructional platform, not a performance platform. I'm going to talk as an instructor, as I am, and hopefully a mentor. Okay? All right, so you used the hi-hat, that's good. All right, you okay with the 3 against 2? The first exercise we did yesterday was we played the 3 on the top, but we used the exercise, if you remember, when we did the one surface exercise as R becomes 3 rights, L becomes 3 lefts, and we played the bass drum on the 2. We made it the 3 on top against the 2 on the bottom. You okay with that? Now, what I do sometimes, I don't really, with the double bass drums, is 1, 2, 3. So you're going to be using the hi-hat, so you're going to use. Is that right, Hoist, Mr. Mante? Well, I'm really early. I should have started a little later. You're getting booted again. That's okay. Okay, we're going to take all the triplet exercises that we had on one surface and play them against the 2. Either double bass drum or bass drum and hi-hat as the second foot. And that's actually, you know what? The hi-hat, I think, is better. I mean, you're not going to get as much speed from that left hand as you're going to get from the left foot on the bass drum. Only because of the rebound on the bass drum. But for example, if we're doing the triplet, 1, alternate. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, and 3. 1. All right, and you use the bass there. You can do the alternating triplets. 1, 2, and 3. So I started to write them out last night, and I did a little bit more this morning. But you're going to get about 30, 40 pages of this. You can't get the hardcover, so I'm just going to send you the PDFs, not a problem. The guys in the U.S. who want, I'm going to put it together with a hardcover. They just have to pay shipping. That's all they're going to have to pay. Hello, Paul. How are you? Hoist keeps getting booted. And there's somebody else here. They should get in the chat. Hey, Paul, under one of the comments from the stream yesterday, stop talking so much and play. That was a comment. Unreal. What do they want me to do? Perform for them? I told you this is an instructional platform. You having any difficulty with the 3 against 2, 3 against 4, Paul? You know, if you remain humble, and as humbling as it sounds, I mean, if you do a whole page a few times from the syncopation book, you know, spend some time with it and do it in a variety of different ways. like page 10. If you do the whole page down, well, I know that, Paul. He don't. I talk too much, he says. Maybe I do. I like to gab. Okay. We're on page 10, lesson 4. We're going to play the triplet. We're going to play that down with the bass drum. Now, I just played 2 lines of that, and that's what you want to do, okay? So, that was one way, right? You're playing just an 8th note triplet without an accent. So run the page down like that. Don't say, well, I can do that, that's okay, let me go to the next one. No, do the whole page. When you say doing triplets, that's just straight triplets on page. All right, we'll get to page 20 in a second. How you doing, Stacy? Well, YouTube has been a little cuckoo the last couple of days. You know, they shut me right down and I got to come back up. You know, they must have a new computer guy or something. I don't know. All right, let's go to page 20 for Paul's sake. Okay? And I'm sure that you're not the only guy that's having problems with this. So let's analyze it. Okay, we're going to do the triplets with the bass drum. So the first downbeat is going to be a 3 against 4. The second downbeat is 3 against 1. The third downbeat is 3 against 1 again. And the fourth downbeat is 3 against 1 again. So what you want to do, Paul, and everybody else, is take it real slow. Now, my mode goes to 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and 3 and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and 3E and so take this slow, Paul. 1 E and 2 E and that should be 3 E. I'm sorry, here we go. 1 E 1 E. What am I doing? 1. There you go. 1. Now we're making the bass drum the 3. Which one are we making the bass drum? The bottom? All right. That's it. All right, Paul? So we got 1. 1, 2. Now 4. 1. What's the hard time that you're having, Paul? I was just having a hard time there too because I'm so into 3 against 4 and 3 against 2. Well, the number 10 we're doing it against the 3. All right, on number 20, the bass drum is the triplets. I've been writing these all out. I'll get all a little confused here until I get the PDF sheet. We're doing triplets. 1, 2, 3. That's the bass drum part. And the top is playing the melody. Yeah, again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that what you're talking about, Paul? 1. Is that it? Well, that's where you're going to get a metronome. I told you, my wire stripped on it. I got a 15-foot cord for the metronome into the sound system. And you turn the metronome on. The metronome will tell you whether you're doing it right. It's a little tricky. So you got to do it slow, Paul. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the. That's slow. You see, you hang out with it that slow, and it's going to feel better. Hoist the line that we're playing. Okay. We're playing page 20. All right? What is written there, I call the melody line. 1 E and the 2, 3, 4. So we're going to play that, all right, with either the right hand or the left hand or alternating strokes. First, we're going to start with the left hand. So, what happens with this now, the bass drum is going to be playing 3 over and over again. All right, well, you got to take it slow, Paul. You got to grab hold to the count. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the. Now that was an even count. So what you got to do now is when you're counting that slow, put everything in place. If I'm going 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the. It's very, very possible or normal, I guess, to get that 4 out of sync. That's what takes the time. You will definitely get it. What does this say? Well, you don't have to be trying to do it. Have you done it this slow, Paul? Watch this. I'll do it with my right. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E. You got it? One E and 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 1. Just practice 3 against 4 over and over again. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the. Set the tick. Each tick is the triplet. Tick, tick, tick. So you got 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and. Got it, Paul? Do it that slow. I mean, it's not, it's an unusual pattern. Well, then turn it down. Turn it down to 40. but make each tick part of the triplet. If you're at 40, tick, tick, tick. Now, 1, 2, 3, or 16ths. 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E. You should be able to do it. Do it without the metronome. Get it right. There's a subdivision going there, Stacy. Yeah, the exercise that's written in 4/4. 1E and 2, 3, 4. That's the melody line. All right, but now you're subdividing so you can get the triplet. When I go 1, 2, 3, that's the first downbeat. 1, 2, 3, that's the second downbeat. I need to think that 1E and 2E and 3E and as the subdivision. So I'm playing to get my triplet. Watch. 1E and 2E and 3. I'm going to play quarter notes with the right hand so you can follow the triplet as the 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Now I played the quarter note on top. That showed you that was the measure. I'm subdividing each downbeat from the distance from 1 to 2 is going to be 1E and 2E and 3E and that gives you the triplet. So the reason why I'm subdividing it that way is to get the 3 against 4. 1E and 2E and 3E. Now the second downbeat, 1E and 2E and 3. Do you see that, Stacy? This is not easy. I got it covered, Paul. I just demonstrated it for Stacy. Does that clarify it for you? Hey, man, Hoist, does that clarify it for you as well? Who else is in here, man? There's like nobody's in the chat. It's a subdivision, you know. If you paid attention in school with the math and the fractions, you know, if you want to get 4 strokes in the space of 3. So I have to open that 3 up. 1E and 2E and 3E and I'm taking each downbeat as a 3/4. 1E and 2E and 3 and the second downbeat 1E and 2E and 3 and the third downbeat 1E and 2E and 3 and the fourth downbeat 1E and 2E and 3 and now let me do it again. You're gonna call me about it later. All right, let me try to explain it again. When I count eighth note triplets, I count 1 and da. That's one downbeat, 1 quarter note. So now I'm going to change my count for the triplet. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to play that line without the grouping of 4. I'm just going to play it as 4 quarter notes. If I play the eighth note triplet, 1, 2, 3, 1, and I played 4 quarter notes with my bass drum, it would be this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So in reality, what I'm doing is I'm playing eighth note triplets against quarter notes. I'm actually going 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're slowing it way down because there's a lot of notes to get in there. So per downbeat, okay, what I'm doing, I'm counting the triplet, that's the 3. 1, 2, 3. That's my first downbeat. But now I'm opening up the space in between my count of the triplet. Instead of 1, 2, 3, or 1 and 2 and 3 and, I need to count 1E and 2E and 3E and now, if you add up that count, that's 12 counts. So what's going to happen, the math or the formula, do a polyrhythm, you're going every third note to hit the 4. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the. Now I'm still counting the 3. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the. What you want to do, Paul and Stacy, you remember the exercise where we did 4 lefts and 4 rights? R became or becomes 4 rights, 1, E, and the, and L became 2, E, and the. Take a few lines of stick control book. So your bass drum is going to play 3. So I have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and do that exercise now for a while. Do we see that? Yes? No? Paul, Stacy, and Hoist. That's 4. And myself. Okay. Did that help you, Stacy and Paul? Do you see that? Take that exercise. You know, if you can't do one of the pages in the syncopation book, take the exercise from the stick control book. Remember this one? 1 E and 2 E and so what I'm doing for one beat is getting 4 strokes. 1 E and that's 4 against 1. 4 against 2. 4 against 3. No response. I guess I'm not streaming. You see it, Hoist? So what you're doing, I mean, this is something you can't do at 60 today, and tomorrow you're going to be doing it at 80. I mean, you got to have this, like when if you went to the hospital to draw your blood, they look under the microscope, they would see 3 against 4 with this exercise. 1 E. All the while, when I'm doing that, I'm thinking, the count out loud, there's a lot of counting for me, but, you know, if I'm going to do it a little slower. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and. What it works out to be, Stacy, is you're subdividing each beat. You're actually thinking for every downbeat 3-4. You can think 3-8 as well. No, you answer that question. I'll answer that question. Why waste any time? The same thing with the 3 against 2. You're doing 3 against 2. I'm still thinking 1 and 2 and 3 in this time. All right, that's that same exercise where R becomes 3. Well, this is a different one. R becomes 3 rights. L becomes 3 lefts. So you got. You can make it 3 against 4. It's tough. You lose 1 second, 1/zillionth of a second, and it's screwed. You got to go into a form of meditation with this. And once you get the feel of it, then you could hear it and play it. Okay? Now you could call me, Stacy. It's not a problem. It's not easy. We're going to take, this is just one exercise that we're taking with the, say, the 3 against the 4, whereas R becomes 4 rights. You know, 1, that's the 3 rather. 1, that's one formation of the 16ths. But now you remember doing it in with the turnarounds. Single strokes, remember that? Doing triplets. 1. Now that's doing the 4. It gets all confusing. I got to really zone in, and I do absolutely need the PDF sheets, and I've been working on them, like I said. Paul, you said you did not deal with page, what was that, page 10? Well, I got that one out. Page 10, right? All right, well, I'll tell you what, if you're online, I'll give you a call, Stacy. Okay. Paul, you said you need to pay your dues, guys. You know, it's like, hey man, I could do line 1, 2, and 3. Let me go to the next one. It doesn't work that way. Every time you do something like this, whether it be 3 against 2 or 3 against 4, you need to pay your dues. Start with line 1 and go to line 15. And then do the 20 bar exercises. Do it in a variety of different ways so you have a handle on it. If you're going to play triplets on the bottom and you're going to play that on top, so on and so forth. Well, the PDFs that I sent, Paul, it was just showing you what 3 against 1, 3 against 2, 3 against 4. Wait till we get to 3 against 5, or 4 against, or 5 against 3, or 3 against 4, 3 against 4 against 5. There's so much more to do, but zone in on this first. You know, like I said, if you're playing the blues, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How was 3 against 2? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You know, it's a commonplace, 3 against 2. 3 against 4, not so much. But it benefits you, it makes you stronger. Okay? But yeah, you hang out with 3 against 2. You want to do it like this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You do 3 against 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. And play the line down on the floor, tom-tom. Line 2. And that's one way. That's the triplet with no accent. Then you can get 1, 2, and 3, 1. They're all being written out, trust me. Okay? You need to do the whole page. Do it 5 or 6, 10 times. The PDFs I sent was just, I tried to write it out. I mean, nobody says 3 against 1 or 3 against, you know, it's triplets against the quarter note. 3 against 2 is the triplet against the 8th note. 3 against 4 is the triplet against a grouping of 4/16. It's just the part of the language. Any questions on it? Stacy, I'm going to take a little nap. Tell Jeff I said hello. And I should be up by then. You know, if you're on Skype, I'll contact you, okay? Hoist, any questions? Well, I'm dividing it into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 in. As the triplet, I opened up the triplet. If you could play the 3 against 2, you could play the 3 against 4. The 3 is 1E and the 2E and the 3. The 4, two, 3. 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 1E and the 2E and the 3E and you'll get it. Hoist, any questions? I will be back a little earlier than 7 p.m. tonight, okay, guys? Try to give you a longer lesson because I'm a nice guy. If you do have any questions, Paul, maybe you could make me a video. Good, Hoist. Hoist, do you have a camera that you can make a video? All right, let me go. Guys, have a rest of a good afternoon, and I'll see you all tomorrow, tonight, 7 p.m. I'll be a little early.